I'm Tom Vessel.
Zee Garcia. Hello, everybody.
Sam Healy. What's up, y'all?
I think we're in the black shirt mood today because we're here today to talk to aspiring game designers, or actually maybe game designers who have been doing it for a while. 10 things.
Inspired to something else.
10 things to stop doing.
That's right.
Hopefully this is more looked at as a positive list because you can look at these and say, I will do the opposite of these.
Yes.
And in fact, I think a few of mine actually were a positive thing that I phrased in a negative way.
Because that's what we do.
But not...
Every single one of mine says stop.
Yeah, really?
Yes.
Just stop it.
Yes.
Stop it. All right.
I guess I could do that with all these, yeah.
I bet we have crossover too. Let's find out.
Probably.
Here we go.
Number 10.
All right, so my number 10 is going to sound very strange coming from me. It probably would sound a lot better coming from you.
Stop.
So, stop designing long games.
Is that standing? Come on.
Now, when I am saying long, I mean like 3+ hours. I mean that type of stuff, not like an hour and a half like what he would want.
An hour and a half?
Yeah.
Cut it out.
Yeah, exactly. Now, the reason I say this is because if I look back at the games that I've enjoyed and I still enjoy, there are very few of them. I mean, a very few of them that go over that 3-hour mark.
Right.
I mean, literally, I'm thinking of one in particular, and that's Twilight Imperium 3rd Edition.
And when it chooses to go above 3, it really commits.
It swings for the fence.
Right.
But
that's how you do it.
So that's what I'm kind of thinking about, and that's what kind of focused me on this idea is there are a few games that I actually go to that are longer than 3 hours. And there are really few games that I go to that I enjoy playing that are 3 hours. Usually, most of the games that I play are 2 hours and less.
Yeah.
And I would say most people are like that.
Yeah.
Not everybody. Everybody, I mean, those 18xxers, oh my goodness, they will play a game for days.
There's a lot of people who enjoy that idea of really digging into something. But
ASLers are the same way.
But if a game can get something done in 2 hours, then don't do it in 4.
Yeah, do it in 2 hours, right.
I know every time this is mentioned, there are people like, I like long games, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
And I get that. But if you're designing, do you want 100 people to play your game or tens of thousands?
Right.
Because it really, the longer your game gets, the less, you might have a very die-hard audience. But
yeah, well, that's exactly what I'm going for. There's going to be a larger group of people that will enjoy your game. You'll have a larger group of people playing your game. So stop designing long games. My number 10.
Like a pizza delivery, 30 minutes or less, okay?
or it's free.
No, not, you don't know. Don't listen to him. No,
20.
2 hours is good. 3 hours is okay. Over that,
All right.
you're really testing the waters.
My number 10 is a more mild thing, but I meet so many designers who do this, and I always want to tell them to stop it. And that's stop designing a game based on a popular IP that you have no rights to normally. They'll come up to me and be like, hey, I designed a game around, the Marvel Universe. And I'll be like, so what did WizKids say? And I'm like, oh, they're not interested. Okay, well then you need to find another, And so they're designing this game and they're like, oh, I made this greatest Firefly game. All right? Then you need to talk to people who have the Firefly license. If they're not interested, then you have a game already based in this universe that you've got to kind of re-theme to some degree.
Yeah.
And it's really a waste of your time. The IP, the intellectual property, is the publisher's job, not yours. Really. It's not, they're very expensive. Most of the time, they're not worth it because they can range up to 18, 20% of profits with also sometimes a big chunk of money thrown down at the beginning. That's a lot of money to be throwing down. Just if you want to make a Star Wars game, make a space game. It doesn't have to be Star Wars. It can just be, but when you start with that IP and then you try to switch it over, you'll find that it's like, yeah, it's still that IP.
Right.
And then it's weird when it's in it's like, oh, he made a Star Trek game. With, teleporters and phasers and
But you're calling it all
Klingoffs and
Klingoffs.
Klingoffs.
Ooh.
Actually, I think that's a laundry detergent.
Yeah, I think so. Maybe.
Anyway, so stay away from intellectual properties, at least unless you're like asked specifically to design one by a company or whatever.
All right, my number 10 is a little bit of a tongue-in-cheek thing, but it's stop chasing down fads, but more specifically, stop chasing down jokes. You know, a game based on a joke or based on, you know, something's popular and so you feel the need to like chase that down. Oftentimes, if your game's going to be good, you're going to be late. And if your game is on time, it's going to be a bad game. Something's going to be off about it. Either the joke's going to bomb or the fad's going to be over. And then you're stuck holding this busted thing that doesn't fit anymore. You know, that's how it feels. Like for me, I know when I used to do theater and I was having like a bad night, the audience just wasn't going for the jokes. The worst thing you can do is try to tell the joke harder because then you're like really digging it. You know, it's like no, just stop.
Come back.
And then she said my wig was off. Come on, laugh. You know, don't do that. Don't chase down the joke. So that's my number 10. Don't chase down jokes. Don't chase down fads.
Number 9.
All right, my number 9. Don't waste your time copywriting / getting a patent on your game. Because first of all, you can't copyright game mechanisms. That's been gone through the courts and all. Secondly, it's really expensive. Third, by the time you get it done, someone else has probably done that. And I don't know that you played every game. That already might exist. Fourth, it makes you look kind of like a jerk in the community. But it's just mostly the main reason. It's just, is it necessary? You don't need to copyright the mechanisms that you do and all that jazz. It's just make a good game. Show it to a company. They're not going to steal it. Fantasy Flight doesn't have to be like, oh, yeah, we can't take this game. And then you make one. And then they're going to go around and publish it. That doesn't happen in the industry. Listen, it might happen. Okay, I guess there's a few companies that might have done that, but I don't know that I've ever heard of that.
Right.
Where a company took someone's game and stole it. And just ask designers that are out there now, they do not go around copywriting and patenting all their stuff. They don't. They don't tell everyone about it until it's finished.
Right.
But that's not the same as wasting your money, because that stuff's expensive too.
Yeah.
So don't copyright / patent your stuff. You don't need to.
All right. My number 9 is stop sticking with arbitrary limitations. And here's what I mean by that. I think limitations are great. I think
it's a great one.
I think working from a point of view of limitation is fantastic, right? If I give you an assignment and I say, okay, I want you to write a paper about anything, that's tough. If I want you to write a paper about this one thing and I want it done in 3 paragraphs and this way, you can work with that. So that's good. Just once you've started working on a project and you feel like you've breached that limitation, then don't force yourself to stick with it anymore. It did its job. Your game does not need to fit in a mint tin now that it's grown to contain a board and 112 cards. You don't need to do that anymore. If that was the original concept, great. And you got some good stuff out of it. Now allow the game to tell you where it fits, you know? That's the main thing. And it happens a lot with like pocket games, right? That you can tell like, this would have been great if they would have allowed for like 12 more cards. But no, there has to be 54 cards because that's what it is. Okay. Or, wow, this game technically fits in my pocket, but then I need tweezers to move the pieces around. It's like, yeah, you know, just allow the game to breathe after
Such
that limitation.
Such a good one. I should have put this on my list.
Its job. So that's my number 9.
All right, my number 9 is...
Don't make a game too short.
No. My number 9 actually kind of goes along with my number 10, kind of loosely, and that is stop throwing in the kitchen sink. What that means is simply you want this mechanism in there. And, that one, I love that. I want that in there too. Oh, but this one too, I want that. And you try to fit everything you can possibly imagine into your design. And what usually happens from that is you have this convolution behemoth that makes it to somebody's table and they have to slog through.
Convolution behemoth?
Yeah, convolution behemoth, yeah. They have to slog through all of these rules. And first of all, your rule book's going to be 30 pages long with no illustrations because you couldn't fit the pictures in there.
Right.
And 10-point font because there's just too much in it. Stop that. Have limitations. You know, it's almost the opposite of yours, almost, but you kind of shoehorn that in.
They should have limitations to start from. Just at some point, you can jettison those.
Well, I'm saying have limitations, and stick to them. If it's all about the 10s and all that kind of stuff that you were talking about, yeah, do away with those. But keep your game under control. And don't let it go off in some wild tangent and make it to where it takes us, 4 or 5 hours to slog through the first game of it when it actually should be a 45-minute to an hour-long game.
It's crazy.
I'm actually surprised this is your number 9. It seems
Why
like
are
a
people
much bigger
now? I
point.
finally understand why people confuse us. I'm confusing us right now.
No, I'm not confused at all. I'm not scared on this side.
I don't know what I'm
Not
talking
scared
about.
on this side.
Okay.
Just kidding, kind of.
Number 8.
Okay, my number 8 is when a designer does not allow the theme and the mechanisms to form a feedback loop. When they figure out the entirety of a theme and then build mechanisms for that, or they build an entirely mechanical game and then figure out a theme that fits that. And I think you should allow those two things to form a feedback loop. Allow this mechanism to be based on this part of that theme, and then discover a mechanism and allow that, if you want it in the game, to figure out what thematically that represents in the game, and so on. Allow for that feedback loop. I think too many designers just hunker down and just tell the good story or whatever, and then the mechanisms come in completely later, or the opposite. Just, I've finished this game. What's it going to be about? I don't know. Here you go, publisher. You figure it out. Get those things working in tandem, because you're going to be telling the best stories that way and allowing for the players to teach and learn that game the best way when the mechanisms, or when the theme rather, can be used to teach the mechanisms in the game. And that comes from a good designer. That comes from someone that understands how to teach their own game, how to do it in theme, and how that translates to a player just from the rule book. So that's my number 8. Theme and mechanism, feedback loop.
That was super scholarly.
You used a lot of big words.
I did.
Sounded like no. I was thinking more jargon, but
Feedback loops. Okay. My number 8 is quite simply stop playtesting only in your own or your local play group. If you cannot send your game to a bunch of people that don't know you personally, and if they can't learn the game based upon what you have written in the rule book, your job is not done yet. Because that is in essence what you're going to be doing if your game ever gets published. You're going to be sending that game out to many people who are then going to try to learn how to play your game based upon the rule book only, without your help and without you looking over their shoulder. If people can't play test your game the same way, you've not done your job yet. And often what I hear from people is that, yeah, we played this game in our local game group and everybody loved it. And then we sit down with them and it's like, your people been lying to you. It's like those people that go to what is it? The singing competitions. What is it?
Karaoke thing?
American Idol and all that.
Yeah, like
jazz.
American Idol and all that stuff. They're like going and they're trying out to be on American Idol, and after they get done with their set, it's like, you don't belong here. Who lied to you so much to get you?
Right, because they always say, everyone told me I'm a good singer.
Yeah, to give you the courage to get in front of a live television, audience. It's the same thing, you know what I'm saying? Your gaming group, the people who know you, maybe they won't be, but I would imagine they would be a lot nicer to you about your design than Joe Blow on the street down the road.
Right.
Because he doesn't know you. He doesn't have any emotional baggage that he's carrying with you. He's just going to look at your game. If he can't figure out how to play it, he's going to tell you, this is a mess. You need to write your rule book better, or you need to do this, or why is that part of the game in there? He's going to be a lot more difficult on you. So stop play testing your game
Joe Blow is one of the
in your
rudest
own
playtesters I've ever worked with.
local game group. My number 8.
That's a good one. All right, my number
is good.
8 is stop following the latest trend or buzz. This is a little bit similar to what you said. This is where you might already be designing the game, and then you're like, wow, I just saw this deck builder. Let's stick deck building in, or whatever the hot thing is. Like right now it's an escape room. You're like, I'll design an escape room game. Why don't you just design a good game? Stop trying to figure out what the hottest thing is right now. Like, when Legacy, they made Pandemic Legacy, and I was like, I will make a Legacy game.
Yeah.
Will you?
Right.
Because even the designer who introduced that did not had a hard time making a follow-up to it. That's a tough thing, and when you're always like, what's hot, what's new, what's hot? That's what the big evil corporations are doing usually, right? With movie studios, they're like, ooh, people like this, I'll make a movie about it. It's like, yeah, was that a good movie? It's that original stuff we're looking for. Try to be original. Now, you can use stuff from other people. I think that you should do that. It's just that I think some people are like, oh, dice rolling's in? I'm making a dice rolling game. No, just make a game.
Number 7.
Okay, my number 7 actually sort of dovetails nicely into what you were just saying, Tom. And this is, my number 7 is stop stealing ideas. Borrow freely.
But sir, he
Don't
said that
steal.
doesn't happen.
No, this is after the fact.
Yeah. This is like after a game's been published, right? And then and again, it's one of those things that's hard to put your finger on when something is borrowed, inspired by, and no, I just straight up stole that. Okay? Don't steal.
I have a list of names.
Don't do it. Mm-mm. End of the video. There's a list of names.
That'd be hilarious. In honor of all these bubbles just come by.
Oh my goodness. So, yeah, I think it's important to be inspired by a new mechanism you find tremendous, inspired by a theme, a movie you saw, a book you read. That's all great. Or even more close to home, just games you've played. But don't steal. Use whatever you are inspired by as a jumping off point. Let that thing breathe, evolve, become its own thing. Don't just grab it and stick it in your game, because then you're cutting corners. You are trying to save yourself steps you really should be taking. So that's my number 7. Don't steal, borrow.
All right, my number 7 is very similar to what Z said earlier. Stop substituting funny for good game mechanisms. Your game might be funny, but is it good? Because a joke isn't funny the 40th time you hear it. Actually, I would argue a joke's usually not good.
Joke is
Yeah, but how many good jokes are in games?
not in games, but
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of games out there and a lot of new designers, and you go through, you're like, hey, look at this. Oh, isn't that funny you do this? Yeah, that is funny. Where's the game? I want to do a commercial that mimics the Wendy's thing. Come in, you open it. Where's the game?
Yeah, right.
Right? All this funniness is there, and funny. I'm a big fan of funny. I like humor in games, but it's not a substitute for an actual good game. And this has a lot. Usually, it happens in the take that genre. The people don't have a good idea. They have a funny idea for a game. They don't know what to do, so you just play good cards on yourself, bad cards on other people. Ha ha ha. I just did this. Look at this silly thing, that combo. That silly combo is funny, but it's only funny so many times. Stop being in a... I'm about to get mad. Just make good games.
He's ready. He's warming up.
reached the limit.
Warming up.
Oh, we're getting there, baby. There's stuff
I
on.
figured. I know it's coming.
All right, my number 7 is stop including impractical gimmicks in your game. Stop including impractical gimmicks. Gimmicks are fine. Gimmicks might provide something for people to latch onto, to remember your game and differentiate it from something else. One of the gimmicks that I don't think is impractical is, like, for example, the cube tower. That's a gimmick. It's a riff off of a dice tower. But it's practical. It provides usage. It's a neat combat mechanism, actually. So it's a gimmick, yeah, but it's practical. One of the
You better not say the Cathedral and Pillars of the Earth.
no, that's him.
okay.
That's not me. No,
It's not even a gimmick. It's like clearly leftover pieces they needed to put in some game.
Oh my goodness! All right, sorry.
You
I
opened
opened
the
that door.
door.
You're right.
You opened it.
I like this side better now.
No, I mean, one of the ones, and it's not really a riff on the game, but the one that really kind of made me put this in there is the big green monster in Fantasy Baseball from CSE Games, the scoreboard that had pegs on it. I'm sure, I don't know for a fact, but I'm sure they were like, oh, dude, this is a baseball game. We've got to put the big green monster in there. It's so iconic. It's all this and it's all that. So yeah, we're going to have that be a trackboard. But it turned out to be very impractical because it was very fiddly. It just slowed the game down. And so that's the kind of thing. I don't really mean to pick on CSE games there, but that's the kind of thing I'm talking about. It might be a good idea at the onset of your design, but after a while, you need to be able to let go of those things, kind of like what you were talking about earlier with the limitations.
Right.
Let go of, it would be neat, possibly, but keeping track of those things would be much easier doing in some other fashion, be more streamlined. It would be easier for each of the players rather, to keep track of their own stats on something, that's right in front of them. You don't have to take up a big footprint. Anyway, stop with the impractical gimmicks.
Number 6.
All right, this next one is going to help you if you're trying to sell your game to a publisher. Because you don't do this, because if you do this, the publisher is going to automatically not even listen to you. Stop telling people your game is the next Monopoly, Ticket to Ride, Catan, whatever it is. Because first of all, not true.
Yeah, probably.
And because if you're saying that, I'm assuming you're not a good designer. I mean, really, because the designers who designed those great games usually either A, didn't think it was as good as people thought, or B, know enough to be humble. All right, but when you come in and you say, this game is going to sell you millions of copies, I probably wouldn't even look at your game at that point, really. I mean, it's one thing to have confidence. You should be confident in your game design, right? I don't need a guy come up and go, here, look at this. It's not that good. Okay, that's not very useful. But at the same time, it's like, best game ever. My natural reaction is, all right, I'll believe it when I see it. And then you go in, and instantly, if it's not the best game ever, it's not a good game at all then, right?
Right,
you're like,
You've set it up. You've set that
this game's replacing Monopoly? No. Not that it might be better than Monopoly, but is it going to sell better than Monopoly? Likely not. I've had many people tell me their game was going to be an amazing next great game, and I'm not sure I've ever seen it happen. Most of the big games that have happened, someone said, try this out. And you're like, well, this is really good. That's fine. Let other people tell you your game is good. Don't be telling them yourself. That's like life in general, though. I shouldn't have to tell people stuff like this. Like, stop telling people how great you are.
Yeah, that's
Just let other people say that.
Yeah.
Truth.
All right, give us some more truth.
Hashtag truth.
All right, my number 6.
Lay it on us.
Stop thinking that more...
Okay, that's it.
I'm done.
Yeah. Stop thinking that more components equals a better game.
Wow, you're really on this streamlining kick on this thing.
What is happening right now is you me.
No. See, the thing... Yeah, that was English. Bad English.
Typical.
I don't have enough.
But here's the thing. We get a lot of games in the Dice Tower, and some of them have, a lot of components.
Stickers.
And some, boy, if they have stickers in it, no,
This guy right
not
here.
fun at all. But anyway, a lot of them have a good bit of components in them. Some of them, not so much. And you know what? It kind of feels like sometimes you're overcompensating for what you know is a lackluster game by including more components, thinking that you're going to confuse somebody and get them to think this has got to be a good game because it has so much stuff in it.
What about miniatures, though?
Well, see, that's the thing. Miniatures is something that if you're going to make a miniatures game, then make a miniatures game and make them good miniatures and everything. But don't feel like you have to put miniatures in a game to make it good. That's
He is Zee.
that's backwards.
All right, no, I
That's
agree,
backwards.
but wow.
I
would rather be on the
Blood rage.
no. I would rather be on the side of this is a great game. I wish I had miniatures for this. And then they can listen to that and say, okay, here is your expansion. I would rather that happen than say, man, these minis are wasted. because this is a horrible game. What am I going to do with these miniatures? Because I'm not playing this game anymore. You know, and I don't mean to dilute the conversation down to just a miniatures game. I mean, seriously, if you put 15 million wooden pieces in a box, thinking that's going to make it feel better than it really is, you're doing a disservice.
And think about the people who have to do the component drops. Come on.
Nobody does component drops except you.
What's wrong with you?
Yeah, but you need to think about these people.
No,
you
don't. They're just crazy people.
Is that me, my number 6?
Yes, my number 6 is more components does not equal a better game. So
Okay.
stop thinking that way.
My number 6 is stop overcomplicating concepts, which you guys have already, we've danced around this idea. You've said it. Just streamline. If it doesn't need to be there, get it out of there.
Right.
Tell us the cleanest story you can tell, okay? Flavor and detail is great, and you should add that in. But it should be around your main narrative, not part of it. I know that's, again, I'm using a literature term and analogy there, but I often find games that I play, I enjoy, I like everything, except that one thing that is clearly tacked on, didn't need to be in the game, could have been jettisoned from the game, and it would be faster, I can teach less, I would understand your game a little bit more quickly and get a better grasp of what's going on. So why is it still in there? No one told you that? It's because you, at some point in your design process, fell in love with that thing, and now you can't cut it.
Yeah.
Okay? Don't fall in love with your game.
The impractical gimmick.
You know, the thing. And oftentimes it's the idea that your game came from, and then it evolved away from that, and you're hanging on to that thing for dear life, right? Let it go. If that thing no longer serves your game,
Don't.
let it go.
Don't hold it back anymore.
God.
Number 5.
All right, my number 5 is stop using blank theme because it's popular.
That's pretty close to what I said earlier about the
Get them.
Yeah.
IPs and
Stop
stuff.
using blank theme just because it's popular.
Zombies, Vikings.
Cthulhu, zombies, Vikings, trading in the Mediterranean used to
not
be
popular.
a thing. It's not popular anymore, but it used to be.
It's never popular.
Let's see, what else?
Kaiju Beastie, the Kaiju Beastie game.
Yes, that one too. You get the idea. Just
Generic dungeon crawls.
generic dungeon crawls, fantasy, whatever it
Wizard
might
versus
be.
wizard.
We just got a game in from Blue Orange that I'm really jonesing to play right now. Not because I think I'll like the game, not because of anything, but because it's a game about growing trees. It's called photosynthesis, and it's got really neat components and all that kind of stuff. But I'm interested to play it because it's a fresh theme that's out there. I mean, how many tree growing games are there?
Now they're growing on me.
Wow.
That
Wow.
was a dad joke.
Deadpan.
Hashtag dad joke, hashtag tombassel@gmail.com.
Yes. That's exactly
Hit
it.
'em up.
But you get what I'm saying though, right? I mean, there are a plethora of different things that you could theme a game around. Don't just automatically go to what everybody is liking right now, because by the time your game comes out, that may have passed, going back to the whole fad thing.
Right.
So the idea here is make a game and pair it with a theme that works with your game, whether it's popular or not. And it just might become popular because it isn't popular yet. It's that unique. So stop making games with blank theme. You fill in the blank.
Okay. My number 5 is
More zombie games.
more zombie games. Kaiju
MOAR.
Beasties galore. Plethora is a lot, right?
Yes.
Plethora Beastie game. Okay, my number 5 is stop making your game for everyone.
Oh, this was my one that just fell off my list.
And just I don't understand these people that want to make a game and they want to make sure that everyone loves their game. First of all, not everyone's going to love your game. It's possible, albeit extremely rare, that everyone's going to be okay with your game, that everyone's going to think it's a nice game. But why would you want that when you can have some people that love your game, and yes, some people that abhor your game? Wouldn't you rather create strong emotion in your players
Amen.
than a game that you have basically like sanded down all the sticky, edgy parts enough that everyone's like, yeah, I feel that feels comfortable to stand on that, but it's not memorable, you know? No, you don't want that. You want your game. You want some people to say, this is my favorite game.
Yeah.
That game that appeals to everyone, it's not going to be anyone's favorite. It's just not. It's going to be too vanilla, you know? So don't try to please everybody. Don't try to make a game for everyone.
There are people out there whose favorite ice cream flavor is vanilla.
I don't think so.
There is.
With chocolate syrup and sprinkles.
No.
Just vanilla, straight up vanilla?
Yep.
I don't even
We
understand
hear
that.
about the couple of them every single time we say something like this.
Yeah, but
really?
vanilla is a flavor, though. It's better than
is.
just ice cream with no flavor.
Is there such a thing?
No.
Wait, I don't know.
I don't know either.
I've never had it.
We really need to, like, save
Flav-
vanilla. I want to start a new campaign.
flavorless-
No.
Flavorless
No,
ice
same.
cream.
I
Vanilla.
have because my wife gives me yogurt and she bought vanilla yogurt and one day she just bought regular yogurt and I was like, there's something wrong with this.
Yeah, no, that one is just flavorless yogurt.
Right, and I'd
Not
rather
ice
have
cream.
vanilla. Vanilla's a flavor.
Anyway, what were we
saying.
talking about?
Just saying.
Stop making ice cream flavored things. I think it's what we were talking about. That's my number 5.
My number 5 is stop ignoring game design. More specifically, stop being an idiot. More specifically than that.
This feels like a catch-all.
No.
A little bit of a
What I
net.
mean is stop not doing research, not playing games all the time.
Oh,
Stop
yeah.
constant. Learn.
Okay.
Sure, Z said don't steal people's games outright. You shouldn't, but you should still be learning from all these games, right?
Yeah.
You should be playing as many games. And really, if you come and say, look at this new game, and we're like, these 4 games already do that.
I was doing that. I can't remember what con I was at, but some guy came up and said, hey, I have this new game, and it's doing this and this and this, and it's doing that. I was like, oh, that sounds like Blood Rage. And he goes, huh? And I was like, see ya.
Yeah.
Because, I'm sorry, if you don't know one of the most popular games in the market right now, and you're designing games, that tells me a couple of things
You need
about
to
you.
immerse yourself in
You
whatever
need to-
you are
yes.
doing.
You don't need to know everything about
No.
everything. That's impossible, okay?
There are
That's-
some things that you should know. If you're trying to break into the market, you should know.
Yeah.
Well, right. A
that,
game designer comes to me and goes, I hear you like games. I'm like, yeah, sure. And he says something, I'll say, oh, have you looked on Board Game Geek? And they go, what's that? Done. I'm sorry. You did not do enough research to know that Board Game Geek exists. That's crazy.
That's lazy.
You don't know, I mean, really, I don't know anything about cars. These guys will mention a model car whenever we're at Uber and it says the car model, and I'm like, what color is it?
What color is it?
You know, but I'm not designing cars.
Right.
I'm not even talking about cars. I don't know enough about that subject. If I did, I better learn fast. I better learn as much as I can about whatever subject. And again, I don't expect everyone to know the most popular games and to know basic game mechanisms. Not everyone needs to know that. But a designer, you need to know that. Go to school, in a sense. You can train yourself. If you're going to make a video game, you need to learn programming. You need to know all this stuff. You can't just sit there and then come to us and be like, what's this? Oh, I never heard of this game. And this happens all the time. I go to conventions and someone says, look at this game. And I'll say, well, that's really similar to this. I never even heard of it. Or it has the same theme as something else. I never heard. That's even worse because a simple internet search would have showed them that this already existed.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The internet is your friend. Well, not the people on the internet, but the
information on the internet is
on the
your
internet
friend.
is
The
your
internet
friend.
is your friend, but what's that dark place over there?
Don't go there.
That's Reddit. Don't go over there.
But really, there's so much information out there, and I have a very low opinion of people who can't put any effort into it. Put some effort into it. Makes me mad.
Number 4.
All right, my number 4, I guess, could possibly venture into the publisher's purview. And not really the designer's purview. However, I think if you as the designer are passionate about this, that will carry over into how the producer feels about it. And that is this: stop being okay with mediocre artwork. Stop being okay with mediocre artwork because I'm not just having fun with the game, I'm also enjoying the artwork that you have decided to put into your game. And so when you as the designer say, I don't care, you can have black and white cards that have no pictures on them whatsoever and just text, Times New Roman text at that. I don't care. That's problematic. That's problematic because you need to have more input on the actual graphic look of your game than just that. Now, maybe the publisher already has things set up. They already have in-house artists. They already have all this. And you don't have a lot of say. But the say that you do have better be passionate about. Because artwork is very important, especially for me. I don't know about these two guys, but I know you like it.
Huge.
I know you like it.
The thing is, it's part of the package, okay?
Yeah.
Your game is not mechanisms and artwork and theme and player count and game length. No, it's a unit. It all works together, or it should if it's a good game. Artwork's a huge part of that.
Yeah.
It goes hand in hand with what I'm doing in the game and the story you expect me to tell and the emotions you expect me to have. If your pictures aren't doing the job...
We just played a 2-player card game the other day. And the game is meh.
Oh, yeah,
But the artwork is amazing.
Yeah.
And that made the game feel better.
It helps, right.
Just a little bit.
Put you in that world just a little
It
bit
helps you
more.
immerse it, yeah. So stop being okay with mediocre artwork. Starts with you, designers.
Well, there's also, to bring it even more to designers, unless your last name is Lockett or Mendez,
Oh, yeah.
or Mendez, I guess. Or no, Mendel, sorry. Unless your last name is Lockett or Mendel, don't do your own artwork. Seriously.
Right. Yeah.
All right, my number 4 is a crossover with Sam. He already said this.
Oh.
Mine's worded slightly different. Stop playtesting with Mom. All right. It's,
Oh, man.
it's the same.
What'd you think, Mom? Oh, it's great, honey.
I'm so proud of you.
So special.
Yeah, but I guess maybe a better way would be stop playtesting with an echo chamber. There's a lot of reasons for that, and it's not just that people will say your game is good. They'll start playing a certain way, and they'll all be playing this way, and you'll be like, oh, well, this deck is definitely overpowered. This one, no one ever uses this strategy, not a big deal.
Right.
Then you send out in the wild, and people come up with these combos, and you're like, I didn't even know that was possible.
Right.
Yeah, because you kept playing with Larry, Moe, and Jack.
Well,
you know, and
it has to happen, though, right? You have to playtest with your own group.
yeah, but I'm saying
at
stop only playtesting with
at
them.
some point, it's got to go past that.
Right.
And that's what I'm saying. I know that it has to happen where you play test in your own game group to kind of get the wheels going and get your game off the ground. But at some point, you've got to leave those training wheels.
So many times we're playing a game and we'll say, how is it possible they missed this?
Right.
Like it's not in the rule book. How is that possible that no one brought this up? Because they all knew the rule.
Right.
The people who played the game. So it never occurred to them it needed to be in the rule book, and it immediately shows me they never showed it to other people. There are games like Magic the Gathering and other big games like from Fantasy Flight who have teams, huge teams of people. That's all they do is playtest games. They playtest them and playtest them and playtest them. Then they send it out and people find ways to break them.
Yep.
It happens. Magic has to ban cards all the time, and they have one of the biggest design teams. And if they have that problem, how can you think you won't?
Yeah.
You think you're bigger than Magic? You sit down, because you're not. Sorry.
By the time we get to number 1, someone's going to get punched.
I'm a little scared now. I'm a little
You want to
scared.
switch seats?
I'm a little scared.
Okay, my number 4 is stop adding dumb shout this thing rules. And that encompasses a lot of things, but please, if you're great at, if your game is
4?
yeah, it really bothers me because it's a lack of it verges on that whole I'm making this game for everyone. No, you made this game, it would seem, for adults. And I myself would rather not have to shout a thing when I play a blue card because I'm not a moron. Please stop making me do that. You know, and then they're like,
This bothers me
no,
less
but
than
it's
you.
funny. It's part of the theme. It's funny. No, it's not funny when I have to do it. Okay, it might organically happen and then it's funny, but if you tell me I have to, it's not funny. You are trying too hard. Okay. Quelf, yeah, Quelf. But just any game. I mean, Uno does it. Like, why are we following Uno rules at this point? Right? Like, and Uno is basically a game you can play with kids. So, all right. But a grown person's game, and then when it's time to do the thing, they're like, and now you have to say this incantation out loud. And it's like, no. I'm just going to play the cards. You know? It happens to me if I play video games, for example, and a game is a stealth game. It tells you, this mission, you must go stealth. I'm like, no. But if you tell me you can go stealth or just kick in the door and shoot everybody, I might try stealth because I'm allowed to do it.
Yeah.
So he's a rebel, is
You
what
know
he's
what I
basically
Right.
mean?
saying.
No,
Don't
it's
tell
just-
me what to do, you public.
I want
what
you
you
to
mean.
not drive the point home so much that you are breaking your own sense of immersion. Don't make that game for everyone. If it's not a party game, don't make me say stupid stuff out loud, you know? So that's my number 4. Yeah, it's pretty high because I kind of hate that sort of stuff.
Okay.
Number 3.
All right, my number 3 is a very much widespread thing that these both have touched on already, and that's stop ignoring the developers or the publisher and stop being tied to the whole game. Start cutting stuff. Stop adding more rules. Always subtract them. You know, you mentioned it earlier. I was going to say the exact same thing. You might be really tied to something, and it might be awesome, and it might even work in the game, but you might need to cut it. There might just be too many things. There's a lot of games I play. I'm like, there's a lot of cool stuff, but it's just too much for this game. And you don't want to sand it down to nothing. But
Right.
I see that a whole lot less than I see too much in a game.
Yeah, for sure.
There's way too much. And the company, the publishers, they're going to come to you and say, I don't think we need this. And you're going to fight to the bone because it's like they offered to cut off the nose of one of your kids.
Right.
But let me clarify, not one of your kids. Not a nose. It's a mechanism. You can take that and design another board game around that. All right? Development. If you're not having your game developed, you're an
should say
idiot.
development one more time.
Well, did I? How many? I don't know. Did I not? It doesn't happen. How many games we played that obviously have not been developed at all?
Yeah. Oh, plenty.
All the time. Stop it. All right, I'm good.
All right, my number 3, development. Development.
Is that really number 3?
No. My number 3 is
He's a bigger jerk than you
stop
by far.
adding too many variants to your game. I don't mind variants. I get to the back of the rule book and they're like, oh, if you want to play with gamers and try this. I'm like, oh, cool. Yeah, I like that. Oh, yeah, I like that it's now not in turn order or just around the table. Now you jump around because you bid for the thing. Cool. That's great. Just don't give me literally, I've read rule books that have literally more variants than rules.
Yes.
At that point, you need to decide which game you have designed and just tell me which one to play, you know? It's like you designed the game and then you were like so wishy-washy about which way to go with your scoring at the end that you gave them all to the players. No, just pick the one that worked the best. And maybe a variant or two for a reason, okay? Like this was too complicated to go into the base game, so I'm just gonna put it as a variant. Or, oh, this lengthens the game into an area out of 1, so hey, you wanted the game to be a little longer? Try this variant. But try all 40 variants. No. Just tell me which ones are good, you know? And it's just it's annoying.
Games are probably lucky if they get 40 plays.
Right, that's
Let
the thing,
alone
right?
Playing the same game with just 40 different variants.
It's insane. No, you need to figure that out. And sometimes abstract games do this a lot. You just figure out the best way to play that one abstract game. So that's my 3. 2, don't add so many variants. Just give me the
All
good
right.
game.
Okay, so that actually bleeds a little bit into my number 3.
Whew, we are rolling.
Stop ignoring the replayability issue.
Oh, cool.
Stop ignoring the replayability issue. You might
All
design
the
a game.
variants then.
No. You might design a game that is great 3 times. But after that, it's now boring because you're not doing anything different. You're doing the same thing that you did in the first 2 games, and you're doing the same thing you did in the 3rd game, and now I'm doing the same thing again. And it doesn't feel any different. One of the games recently that's really kind of brought this to the forefront for me is First Class.
You mean in a positive way?
All aboard, yeah, in a positive way. All aboard the Orient Express. They have A, B, C, D, and E modules that you can use in the game. And you can mix and match those things. I don't know how many different variations that is. How many is that?
Can you use all the modules?
No, you can't use all of them. You only use 2 of them at a time. 2 of them per game.
So 30?
So 10.
10 different variations to play the game.
You said there's 5 different things?
6.
A, B, C, D, E.
Yeah, 10.
10 different, okay.
So, only 10?
It's not permutations, it's combinations.
2 words that don't mean anything to me.
No, I'm serious.
He
Stop.
just started talking over our heads.
No.
You don't know what permutations and monkey nations are, man? You need to catch up, bro.
Just go on.
Anyway,
This is why people don't study at school.
First Class is a positive example of tackling the replayability issue without changing the core mechanisms of the game.
Right.
You just give the people a group set of things that they can use in different combinations. You're basically playing the same game, but it feels slightly different from time to time.
Right.
That's really cool to me, and often people don't do that. Games have, this is how you play the game. Okay, great, that's going to be good 5 times, but what am I going to do after that? I'm just going to put it on the shelf, and the next new game is going to come into the limelight for me. Don't neglect the replayability issue, because that's going to talk about shelf life for your game, because quite frankly, there are a lot of games on my shelves right now that are there for nostalgic reasons only. I probably am not going to pull it down and play it again, just because I've played the game 4, 5, 6 times, and there's nothing else that it has to offer. So,
It's 16. Because
see, I knew he was right.
It was like, Lobo, he's been thinking about
He's
this
been thinking about it the whole
no,
time.
because you can play with
Man.
any 2 modules, but you can also play with just 1 module, and you can play with no modules. So 16.
No, but you can't play with no modules. You always have to play with 2.
Okay, 15. Oh, you have to play with 2? You have to play with 2?
You have to play with 2 modules.
Oh, 10. Okay. Sorry.
You sure?
That's my number 3. Don't neglect the replayability issue. Monkey Nations.
Number 2.
My number 2 is from a playtesting point of view, and that is stop listening to, well, first of all, stop listening to everyone. That's part of it. You know, listen to your playtesters, but don't listen to everyone. Don't take everything to heart. Get that feedback and then, you know, sort of figure out what you want from it. But also, stop listening to playtesters for mechanisms. Start listening to playtesters for emotion, how they felt playing your game. Not, you know, it seems to me like 4 cards as an opening hand is not really great. You should do 5 cards. Oh, okay, yeah, now it's 5. Don't do that. Okay, that guy might not know anything about game design. But also, what he's really saying is, I felt like I had not enough options. That's what you're listening for.
Ooh, this is good. Good stuff. We can teach a class.
You need to figure out if that's the opening hand or something else that you need to give them that breathing room, right? Your players. So don't listen for mechanisms. Listen for the emotions the players were getting out of your play experience. That's my number 2.
Wow.
Right? That's some deepness.
You got nothing now. Yours is going to sound so corny.
Development.
No, I'm not going to say that.
Go.
Number 2, stop holding back core parts of your design for an expansion. Or for exclusives. Or for exclusives. Or anything like that. Please design your game and give me everything that you designed that game with. Or everything that you designed that game for. Horrible English again. But you hopefully can get what I'm laying down here. If you design a game, I would like to play that game, not 3/4 of it. Because you decided to hold back 25% of it to rake in some cash on the expansions later on. First of all, you may have held back the part of the game that makes it really good.
Yeah, just don't hold back core mechanisms, is what you're
Yeah,
saying. Right.
what I'm saying, we played a game that was very similar to that, where a key part of the game that made the game make more sense and was much more enjoyable. Oh yeah, that was a Kickstarter exclusive.
Sounds like a zombie game.
Ah, yeah, it was. A really cool game with that part in there. Without it, it was a dud. Stop holding stuff back so that you can get more money out of people on the front end, because the people don't give you money on the front end because maybe they can't. It's not that they're being stingy. It's not that they don't trust you. Maybe they can't afford it right then. You're hurting them, and you're possibly hurting the longevity of your game by holding parts back. So stop doing it. It's stupid.
All right, my number 2, I feel so strongly about. I'm going to be making a video specifically for this in the future. Okay? No. Okay, listen.
Is this the video?
Listen, no, this is not the video. Listen.
Because we're in the future now.
Okay, listen carefully.
When you just said it.
Stop.
Okay.
You're a game designer. Stop starting board game companies. I'm not kidding here. Stop it. You're a designer. You're not a publisher. You're a designer. And if you're a publisher, stop designing games. Pick one. And you will say, but Mr. Vassal, Ryan Lockett, and a couple other people, they are by far the exception, not the rule. Guess what? You're not the exception. You're only good at one of those things. I'm serious. To be a publisher, you need to do logistics, you need to do graphics, you need to do art, you have to get art, you have to do the publishing, you have to work with companies in China. I thought you wanted to design a game. And you say, but no publisher wants to take my game. Then your game sucks. All right? It's awful. If no publisher wants your game, there are publishers out there that publish really bad games. And if they're not taking your
Publishers
game,
should be designers, is what he's saying. You know?
and if they're not taking your game, think about this. No one wants your game, there's a reason. All right? You can't do it all. And I'm so tired of game designers coming to me and saying, I'm going to start my own game company, blah, blah, blah. Why? Why? You know, I know what it is. You want total control of the game. You don't deserve total control over the game. You aren't the best at deciding how perfect your game is. That's the publisher's job.
You can't handle the truth.
I think it boils down to that whole I can't let go thing.
Yes, that's what it is.
You know, it's like, no, you made a thing. It's not a child. Just let it go. Let development happen.
No, this happens all the time. Like, you ask publishers or designers, like, what's your favorite game? It's like, it's like asking me what my favorite of my kids there. No, it's not.
It kind of is.
But it's not the same thing.
I know.
A kid is a living human being.
You
This
put
is
more
a
time into a
game.
game design than you do.
If I take and burn up one of your games, you should not feel the same emotion as if that happened to a human.
Right.
Stop it! But anyway, that's getting off track. What I'm saying here, though, is you're right. The designers that I've seen do this don't want to give up control.
Right.
Now, if for some reason, and there's a few people, you're like, oh, I really like the idea of publishing. Great, then you get into publishing, but then you get into publishing. It's not a platform to get your designs out there. It's really easy to get a game published these days, and that's why more people are doing it. But you know what? So many people are doing it poorly. I'm telling you, there's very few people that when I see the publisher and the designer the same person, the game is good. I would say it's less than 1% probably.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's really
rare. It is
yeah. So
rare.
stop starting game companies.
And finally, number 1.
This is gonna be loud.
Ain't gonna be
Our
so
sound
loud.
editor took his headphones off.
I'm not gonna do it.
Wah! 1 is best, right?
It is.
Low number. Close. He's gonna roll 20. Always says.
Oh, are you kidding? Are you kidding me? That was clearly not going to be a 19.
That was actually going to be a 17 or an 18, and it flipped
No,
over
sir.
to a 19.
No.
All right. Well, who's going first here?
So you are doomed, sir.
Me first.
Start down
I
here and
actually
come down this one.
suspect that my number 1 might be Tom's number 1.
I'm gonna give
It
you
can't be.
first place then,
If it is, just chime in with me, okay?
because if you say it first,
I can't be mine because mine is the one that makes me the most mad. Mine is one that makes me the most mad, not necessarily the most important. I already said development. That's probably the most important.
Yeah, okay, that's fine. Mine makes me pretty mad too. I know how to control my emotions. Anyway, my number 1 is stop asking the players to complete your design for you.
That is my number one. Oh my goodness.
Which is,
I was like, stop asking me to design the game.
it goes hand in hand with the too many variants thing, okay, which is kind of like a way to do that, but it's like, you finish the design, but here are some suggestions. In this case, I'm talking about you finish the design, thanks for your money. You know, that's not okay. You need to design the game to its completion, okay? No one's publishing your book when you wrote half of it. You know, I'm not going to go see your film with no third act. Finish the game. Don't, like, what happened? Did you just run out of ideas? Put some eyes on this thing. Like, what's going on? It's like you gave up but still wanted to get a game published. Finish the design. Get some help on it if you need to. What do you think?
I love rules, right? I don't love long rules, but I hate looking in the rule book and it's not there, or they're like, players decide this, or players decide how long the game is, whatever. Again, I was going to say the same thing you did. I did not pay you so I could do your job. I paid you to do your job. Your job is to design a game. Don't give me a game full of players decide. I will hurt you if I see you.
I just hate the whole, and whenever a game does this, I'm like, you should have cut some stuff out. Anytime a game says at some point in the rule book, if players cannot come to a decision, pick the thing that's the most fun.
Right, or roll a die or something. No, you tell me what the decision is, you
No.
mindless.
Just streamline enough so I don't run into this issue. Then we're good. But this whole, I did a lot of work. The rest, just play however it's more fun. Here you go. No.
Well, you've heard me yelling.
finish.
I've been yelling about this lately.
Yeah. And it's just, I run
Really
into that
ticks me
issue a
off.
lot in games with skirmish rules. In fact, one of the reasons I really disliked the D&D one is because the monster movement was so imprecise in that game when I first played it. It's been years, I don't remember, but and it was like, oh, just move them however it makes the most sense. I'm like, wait, what? No, tell me how they move. What do you mean? Just they kind of get closer? No, there's not rules for this, and that bothered me. It's been a while. I don't remember exactly how they phrased it, but any game that has that sort of fuzziness to the rules, you need to finish that. So that's our number one.
Well, I feel like the odd man out.
Why? I really didn't think that would be your number one.
Because mine
that was
is
the first
not
one I
even
wrote
close
down.
to
I was like,
that.
all right, I know that one. What are the rest
But it
now?
is one that this is one that I do feel strongly about.
All right, good.
Stop. For
That's right. Join us in Emotionville.
stop including roll for movement
Okay.
or roll for actions mechanisms in your game. I hate it. I get a sinking feeling in my stomach when I read in the rule book, the player whose turn it is will roll to see how far they can move, or will roll to see how many actions they will get. One game we played, it was you rolled a D10 for actions. That means one person might roll a 10 and the other person might roll a 1. That's not fun. Not even close.
Oh, it's fun for the guy with 10 actions.
Probably
No.
not, because he feels like he's destroying you through no
Exactly.
fault of his own, right?
I mean,
genius of his own.
Right, exactly. Rolling for movement is almost the same thing, because one person, even if it's a D6, because usually on a board that you're rolling a D6 for movement, it's not that big of a board, and 6 movement is a heck of a lot more than 1 movement. And it's like, oh, I got from one side of the board to the other. Yeah, I'm still over here in the start zone.
So what do you think makes rolling for like combat, let's say, feel better than
Because
rolling
there's
for...
other variables that are in
Right.
there. There are other variables that can explain away why
So you wouldn't like that
missed.
either if you just both roll D20 and higher roll wins.
No, no. I don't care that you came up with that. Plus, it's not
he's
a
burning
game.
you.
Plus, it's
My
not a
number
game.
zero is don't throw other designers under the bus.
But I mean, you get what I'm saying. Hopefully, I mean, it's such a bored, tired, so completely overdone. mechanism. Roll for movement, roll for actions. I
think it comes into play with the.
There are few and far between
Oh.
exceptions where it's okay. Coliseum is one of them, because you're doing so much else in that game
right.
that rolling to see where the guys land that's okay, whatever.
Yeah. I think it comes into play with what Tom was talking about doing your research, being involved in this hobby.
Yeah, but
Anyone who is still putting that roll and move action
But I mean, there are still games out there
there doesn't know the hobby that well, probably.
Yeah, maybe, but I mean, there's still games out there. Talisman is one of them. They're really popular games.
Yeah.
But at the core, it's just roll and move.
Yeah.
I don't understand it. It's just not something that I enjoy at all, so I would like to see much, much less.
Alrighty. Well, those are our top 10 things designers need to stop doing. I'm sure you guys have ones we missed. Put them in the comments. Maybe you disagree with us. Maybe you're a designer who's feeling pretty sad because we just named 6 or 7 things. Maybe you should just find another profession then. No, that's actually pretty mean.
Man.
No, I mean...
He's just pulling out all the stops.
Sorry, no, I didn't mean that. Learn, though, really. We love to try new games. We really do. And we really want to encourage new people to get into designing.
Yep.
But I don't want people to treat it like a lot of people like, oh, I'm going to just design a game, make $1 million, I'm going to put very little effort into it. That's garbage. Put the work in. Designing is work. I promise you, it's a lot of work. But if you do a good job, then Sam will say your game is good, and it's amazing feeling to have him say your game is good.
Yeah, maybe.
Zee likes everything, so it's not as...
Just make it short, okay? Like 10 minutes or less, and it's fine. It's good.
All right,
Make
until
sure
next...
it fits into like a matchbox.
Or a gum pack.
It has to fit your wallet. All right, until next time, my name's Tom Vassell.
I'm Zee Garcia. Thanks, everybody.
Sam Healy. See you on the flip side, folks.